Hey, good morning. Thank you for joining the First Middle Church of Christ. And we're glad to continue this series with the Lord's Prayer. As we look into the second part of the Lord's Prayer, the first part was, Our Father who art in heaven. And now today we're going to be looking at, Hallowed be thy name. Now, hallowed be thy name is a phrase from the Lord's Prayer, specifically the line, Hallowed be thy name, which is found in Matthew 6, verse 9. This phrase expresses reverence and recognition of the holiness and sacredness of God's name. It signifies the desire for God's name to be honored, respected, and treated as holy. The meaning of hallowed, the word hallowed means to set apart as holy, sacred, or even reverent. It implies recognizing and acknowledging the intensity of the holiness and greatness of God's name. By saying, Hallowed be thy name, believers are expressing a deep reverence of awe for the divine nature of God. Recognizing God's holiness, in the Bible, God's name is often associated with character, attributes, and reputation. It represents his divine nature and reflects his authority, majesty, and perfection. By acknowledging the holiness of God's name, believers affirm the unique and transcendent nature of God. We honor God's name. The phrase, Hallowed be thy name, expresses the desire for God's name to be treated with respect, honor, and even reverence. It signifies acknowledgement that God's name is not to be taken lightly or used in a casual or introverted manner. Instead, believers are called to approach God's name with awe and deep respect. So when we pray, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, we bring respect and honor to God. It reflects God's worthiness. By affirming that God's name is hallowed, believers recognize and affirm God's worthiness of adoration, worship, and praise. It emphasizes that God is desiring of the highest honor and reverence from all creation. It's personal and commendative application. The phrase, Hallowed be thy name, is not only an individual acknowledgement, but also a collective prayer of the community of believers. It reflects the desire for God's name to be esteemed and honored by all people. The churches of Christ place a strong emphasis on the worship of God as revealed in the Bible, and the phrase, Hallowed be thy name, aligns with this focus. It serves as a reminder to believers to approach God with reverence and awe, recognizing his holiness and majesty. It expresses the belief that God's name is sacred and should not be taken lightly or used in a disrespectful manner. Within the churches, worship services often include prayer, hymns, and reading that emphasizes the holiness of God's name. By using the phrase, Hallowed be thy name, in their prayers, members of the church acknowledges that the greatness of God and seeks to honor him in their worship. Overall, Hallowed be thy name in the Lord's Prayer serves as a reminder of the sacredness and holiness of God. It calls believers to approach God's name with reverence, acknowledging his greatness and honoring his divine nature. It signifies the recognition of God's worthiness and the commitment to treat his name with utmost respect and devotion.